as long as you believe in the work and do the work.
But first of all, I don't want to be your poster child.
Solidarity is critical to getting this done. Allies are important.
Show me that I provide value to the business.
Is just one more way that some have tried to diminish, dismiss, and disavow the reality of systemic racism.
Be with us in crisis as well as celebration, but be consistent about it.
Okay, Kim, here's one directly from the field, and I'm just going to give it to you the way it came to us. Here's the question. I work in a membership-based organization. In February, we hosted a video about a gay couple who overcame an issue adopting a young boy as their son to celebrate Family Day, which is a state holiday. It was fairly well received, but we got some backlash from members who found it offensive. How do you recommend responding to customers like these?
Well, there's so many different ways I can go with that, but visual representation is really, really important. I myself am gay and I have adopted both of my children. So seeing my family represented in materials as part of an organization that I'm a member of is very meaningful. For my daughter and my son to see their family represented in materials and advertising, they can see themselves. They don't feel like so much of an outsider because this is their life and this is who we are. So that visual representation is incredibly important. And as far as the members who were offended, my first question is why? And as my teacher and mentor has taught me, the offense is in the eye of the offended. So in staying curious, why am I triggered by this representation of a happy family? Even two parents,
Exactly.
Which is not everybody's family structure, nor does it have to be, set up as the ideal. So what is that? And where we often go wrong, Janet, is we have our own limited experiences. We've only been exposed to so much. And most of the time, it's just been us being reactive, like wherever we ended up.
Right.
But
we know
DEI DEI asks us to be proactive, to learn about other different experiences, understand that other people are having different experiences than we are. Where we cross the line is we get so into, my faith or my way of looking at things should be everybody else's. So this myth of universal values of like how I see the world and experience the world, the rules that I follow should be everybody else so I can be comfortable. So we cross that line into this is my limited experience, my understanding, my approach and how I'm showing up to the world. We cross that line in saying, and so should you. When you would not be all that receptive to somebody approaching you saying, no, you should be living my way. You're going to dig in your heels even more. So why would you do it to somebody else? If it's working for you, rejoice in that. So, that family being represented in your communications has never happened before. It's relatively new. And it is vitally important to have more representation because it's an educational tool. But it also is a microaggression when you are excluding different forms of family and of couples, because it really then becomes when people aren't seeing themselves positively represented in advertising or our open enrollment materials, whatever it may be, we then suffer that lack of education on an individual basis.
Right. And I'm not going to give anybody a pass on this by saying that unconscious bias plays a role in this, because once I tell you it's unconscious bias, I've made it conscious. So therefore you can't take a pass on that anymore. But it does, because your point about experience, we think that the experience that we have, we think that what we see, we believe to be objectively true is true. And that is not always the case. Think about that thing that broke the internet a few years ago where the dress was either blue or the dress was white. If you saw blue, you could not see white. Did that mean that the dress was not inherently white? No, because somebody else saw something else. So we have to understand that a lot of these things that we do that end up being a microaggression, that end up being racist, sexist, ableist, whatever they are, stem from us not accepting that there is a reality outside of our own, and it happens in our brain. But the minute it gets out of your brain, then you have the ability to change it. You cannot control the first act, but you absolutely can control the subsequent action. And that's what we got to work on doing.
You have a choice to weaponize that bias. And by the way, I saw the dress is white.
I saw blue.
White and gold.